Going on, Man Zero? Grab a drink. Prepare to toast. You are always first, and I like it. Hey, no problem, buddy. Anytime. You know that. All right, here's the name of the song I'm playing to start off. No copyright music, uplifting, motivational, Rameau by Rameau. No copyright music. I don't know if that matters, but kind of nifty. We are doing Raise Your Glasses. That's right. Raise your glasses, get a drink. We are going to be toasting some uplifting news stories. We are toasting uplifting news stories. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am toasting with beer, but if you're not of age or you don't drink, you're welcome to just toast with whatever, man. Okay. Got to start off with a drink first. Let's toast some uplifting news, because you only hear about the bad things that happen in the world, right? Time to spread some positivity. So kick back, get a drink, relax. Let's celebrate some uplifting news. The first one I want to talk about is one that's not new news, but it is definitely news. And it's something I want to make sure that we bring up. J.J. Watt. You want to hear some stories? All right, man. Well, here's some uplifting news stories. J.J. Watt's going to pay for the funerals of the victims in the Santa Fe high school shooting. Let's go through this news story. This is a tragedy. And let me see if I can find it. I want to find a video, a clip to go with this. Sorry. So J.J. Watt. Here we go. I found a clip that I want to use. Okay. So J.J. Watt, you guys, everyone knows, there were kids killed, 10 people killed in the shooting at Santa Fe High School. And J.J. Watt, plays for the Texans, is going to pay for all of their funerals. 9 of the people killed were students. It was a real tragedy, but J.J. Watt is stepping up. He's been very active in the community. He's done a lot of things. He did a fundraiser for more than $37 million for people affected by Hurricane Harvey. It's kind of amazing. So there's not a whole lot of meat to this story, but you don't need it. There are a lot of school shootings. And, you know, here's the thing. And I don't know why, but I love Mr. Rogers. If you guys have never listened or watched Mr. Rogers, you're missing out. I think this is the clip I'm looking for. Let's play it and find out.
You know, my mother used to say a long time ago, whenever there would be any really catastrophe that was in the movies or on the air, she would say, always look for the helpers. There will always be helpers, you know, even just on the sidelines. That's why I think that if news programs could make a conscious effort of showing rescue teams, of showing medical people, anybody who is coming into a place where there's a tragedy, to be sure that they include that. Because if you look for the helpers, you'll know that there's hope.
Mr. Rogers is, he's passed away, but he was a national treasure. I love Mr. Rogers. Loved his program as a kid and as an adult. Love the things he did, like being all-inclusive. He broke racial profiling and stereotypes and lines in casting for his show. He talked about things that kids never had any way of addressing. It wasn't just Looney Tunes. Anyways, we're not here to talk about Mr. Rogers. We're here to talk about J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt is a hero because a lot of people who become stars, or whether they're athletes or celebrities, they go out of their way to save their money. They'll do a couple little things here and there, just enough to get their name out there and get popular. J.J. Watt goes above and beyond. He's done a lot of things. I'm pretty sure he, there's NFL players all over the place that are paying for Christmas lists, paying for things on layaway. There's a lot of people like that, but J.J. Watt is going above and beyond. He's helping provide as much as he can closure for these things. So we're going to toast J.J. Watt, man. I don't cheer for the Texans, but anytime I see you play, man, I will cheer for you because I really appreciate what you're doing. You are a helper in a tragedy. And as we're going to find out some of these other stories, you don't have to donate tons of money to be a helper. You just had the means, and you decided you were going to do it. Okay. There's a lot of money ones going on, huh? Do this one next. Pet chicken helps man heal after death of his dog, and the internet adores him. I don't know if this is uplifting. Like, it's uplifting in that he found a chicken after his dog died. This is more about how people on Instagram and the internet are going crazy over him. Yeah, we'll talk about this a little bit. I'm okay with this. What are AMV? We'll talk about that later on, Man Zero. So this guy's story went viral. He's from Florida. Of course, he's from Florida. He has a 1-year-old Rhode Island red hen on Instagram, and he had a blue heeler puppy that died when he was 17. And he loved his dog very much. I get that. We all have dogs. I mean, if you've ever had a dog that you've raised from a pup, they are part of the family. And so on a whim, he got a chicken. He let the chick live in his house. And now he's not only over his dog, but I guess he's kind of an online sensation. You know what? We're not going to toast the guy. We're going to toast Sammy the chicken. Toast for Sammy the chicken. Not much of a hero of the story, but you know what? You helped this guy get over the loss of his dog, and now you are more popular than I am. So there you go. Helping Florida man get over his dead dog. Okay. This one's really uplifting, and this one hits home for me too. Anonymous donor gives $10,000 to pay Westbrook student lunch debts, which erases over half of the $17,000 that families in the district owe. So, this guy was in the middle of a TV interview Monday, the superintendent was, and he got an email. A message from an anonymous donor said he wanted to help with families' unpaid accounts. Later that morning, this person sent a $10,000 check to the superintendent's office that would erase more than half of the debt students had accrued that year. The superintendent was speechless. I would be. Holy crap. Your dreams to be famous when you grow up? Be careful what you wish for, because you want to make sure you're famous for the right thing. You can be famous for doing something really good, and I think that's awesome. This donor didn't want to be identified. He's not sure how the district will allocate the donation, but it's going to take a huge chunk out of the debt. Now, this is why it hits home for me. This statement right here kind of sums it up. You provide, oftentimes, the only stable meal for the day, the only guarantee for a meal. I think this person just wanted to show her belief in kids and recognize that there are kids in need. A lot of people dog on school lunch programs. A lot of people go after, name that person, whomever you think is responsible for it, whether it's current administration, past administration. There's a lot of blame being passed around that school lunches are crap, they're not as great as they could be. There are some kids out there that can't eat. There's some kids out there that eat breakfast and lunch at school, and that's what gets them through the day. They'll eat the lightest supper you've ever seen. I know that I was on a lunch program as a kid, and I was very thankful for a program that allowed me to eat at school without my parents having to be bankrupt. And it was tough, me, growing up, because, you know, kids would when we all had school lunch cards, and it was nice because after a while people didn't know it, but then word got out. You know, some people, their parents paid their bill. Other people, me growing up, didn't have, or my parents didn't have to pay the lunch bill for a long time. On top of the embarrassment, it's status thing. And there's some kids that if they owe this much money, on top of the not getting the food, think about the emotional toll that could take on a kid. Knowing that that meal you can't afford. Might be the only meal you get. Talks about last year there's a huge campaign for that, yeah. This took place up in Maine. Some students are eligible for free or reduced breakfasts and lunches based on their household income and federal poverty guidelines. That was me as a kid. The superintendent said, "We want children to eat. We feed kids and we settle the bills with parents later." That is awesome. So we're going to toast this hero. This is legitimately a hero who had $10,000 and said, "You know what? I want kids to be able to eat." And it's not all of the debt, but that's a huge chunk of change. So whomever you are, lady, out there, props to you. I encourage you guys to go look up these stories later on, too. I'm going to post these at the bottom of the story when I'm done here. Okay. Now, here's one that doesn't involve donating a bunch of money, per se. Money was used. In London. The story comes from Jolly Old London. The Scottish café chain builds a village for the homeless. This chain that employs homeless people and runs a scheme to provide free food to rough sleepers has gone a step further. They built a village of 11 houses in Scotland, where up to 20 homeless people will be given accommodations in the new village. Mr. B should come here and donate you money for being such a great YouTuber. I appreciate that, man, but you know what? Mr. Beast ain't never going to come here. I do watch his videos. I see him donate to a lot of people, but you know, Mr. Beast does a lot of really positive things for a lot of people, and it changes a lot of their lives. You know what I mean? While the recognition would be cool to grow the community, I really like the way it's growing now, because we would probably get a lot of toxic people here too. Not saying that he has a toxic following, but our community that we have built up of people that, I mean, we have like 10 to anywhere from 25 to 125 people watch a stream throughout the course of it. I like that. People come and they come back because they wanted to, not because I don't want to ride the coattails of someone who's a lot more popular than me. But if he wanted to come by, I'd welcome the chance to talk to him. I think he's a pretty cool dude. A little cartoony, but he seems very sincere. I can play Fortnite, I just don't. So, these guys aren't building houses, but they're building homes. They're building a community. Now, that line really sticks with me. I love that. What's up, Milky Ray? Grab a drink. We're toasting heroes. So, the chain is called Social Bite. Am I seeing that right? Okay, so next month, the first 6 residents are going to move into the village, which sits on land loaned by the Edinburgh City Council for 4 years. They're going to have 4 years to live in this community and try to get things straight. Lemon water's fine, buddy. I'm drinking a Life Coach Lager beer, but whatever you're drinking, we're toasting, man. So if they decide not to renew the loan, the prefabricated houses, which last up to 100 years, can be moved. So here's the gist of this. There are 11,000 homeless households in Scotland, and the numbers have been rising steadily since 2015. So this chain, it's a small amount, honestly. 11 houses to house 20 people, but this company also employs the homeless, and they have all these programs to reach out and help them get jobs. But these guys took it a step further, said, you know what, we're not just going to give you a paycheck and say, go find somewhere to live, which I think is admirable on its own. They said, you know what, we're going to give you a paycheck, we'll help you get out there in the world, and you know what, don't worry about where you're going to live, and move into one of our houses, our homes. That's awesome. If I'm ever in Scotland, I'm going to go to, I think it's Soundbite, or Social Bite. I think that's the name of the company. Yep. Business to help society as well as making money. If I'm ever there, I am going to frequent that store frequently. So here's to you, Social Bite. Well done on that, man. Whoever's in charge of that, that's awesome. Let's see. The next one. Oh, this one's my favorite, and this is one of my favorite stories for the day. Actually, the next three are my three favorite stories for a lot of reasons. So, roughly 1 out of 10 applicants for jobs at this factory in Indiana had failed drug tests, disqualifying them for employment at a factory. Which, I mean, let's be honest, if you're working anywhere where there's heavy equipment or there's machinery running at all times, you want somebody who has all their senses. I understand why people can't work there if they fail a drug test. I get that. There's liability, there's insurance, there's safety of the person and the people around them. And a handful of the 450 people working there had already failed random drug tests as well. And there's opioid problems in our country like crazy. You guys see it all over the news. So this company decided that they didn't have the qualified labor they needed, and there's this terrible epidemic. I'm kind of butchering this quote, but they saw these two problems. Need people, except the people that might be able to help, they have a problem. So this guy decided to, instead of altering insurance contracts to discourage physicians from prescribing addictive painkillers, this guy decided to come up for a model that I think every company, I agree with the person who wrote this article, Lydia DePillis. Kind of ironic talking about the opioid crisis. Pillis, unpill us. Anyways. How much would it cost to help people get sober in this town of 37,000 compared to what he was losing by not having them available to work? This guy looked at it from a cost analysis standpoint. Well, we're losing this much money because we can't fill these jobs. What would it cost us to help them prepare so they can get jobs? Eclipse TF, you're so angry right now. Why, man? We're celebrating happy news. There's an uplifting story of a company out in Indiana. What's going on, buddy? Why are you pissed? All right. Oh, well, while you're typing, I'm gonna hit this thing real quick. So this guy, people deemed to have a low risk of developing an addiction could spend 2 months in a non-dangerous job before they're allowed to operate heavy equipment again, as long as they pass periodic random drug tests for the rest of their time in the company. He got this approved by his board. He has this plan. They pay for an evaluation at a substance abuse treatment center, so they send them off. Mr. Spycrab 1, any more TF2 streams? Maybe later. Right now we're doing uplifting news, buddy. There will be in the future, yes. So this guy started a program where, you know what, you come in for a job, you fail the drug test. They said, you know what, we're going to send you off to get it evaluated. What kind of drugs you want? And if it was a low risk, if it was a low risk of developing an addiction, if that person was, they'd get 2 months in a non-dangerous job, and then they'd be allowed to operate heavy equipment again. Anyone at a high risk would spend 2 months in an intensive outpatient monitoring and treatment program with the promise of a job at the end if they made sufficient progress. He figures he'd have to shell out $5,000 for each person it gave a second chance to. This guy's going for sainthood. I mean, let's be honest. Most people, if you see someone high on drugs or that you hear, oh, I failed a drug test, your first thought is, psh, why? Why couldn't you just not use? Someone on your comp team just left because you're not winning scrims. He was one of our mains. I'm trying to find someone before our first match. Oh, man. That sucks, man. So, a lot of time there's no carrot at the end of treatment. And that's true. I have friends who that have gone through treatment programs. And I'll tell you this. Motivating yourself to get out is often hard. To get out meaning to complete the program and to stick with it. You know, most people don't rely on motivation as far as how does this impact my family or my loved ones. This gives another element to it, especially if they don't have any loved ones. I mean, some people are to a point in their life where they've lost their loved one, lost their children, their families disowned them, and this gives someone a chance. It's like it's career pathing 101. You give someone an opportunity and the means to complete certain stages on their own so that they are better off at the end and they have in front of them either a job and or career, which is awesome. So one employee, who they're keeping anonymous, had been there for 2 years before he had an accident. A drug test picked up traces of pain reliever, hydrocodone, and then he was in a lot of trouble. 2 months of working in inventory combined with counseling and more drug tests before he was cleared to work again. And then he was able to work again. At any other place that didn't have this program, he probably would have just been let go. That's 100% accurate. Most places, if you fail a drug test, especially after an accident, they'd say, you know what? Not working out. Go take care of yourself and get out of here. What's a person going to do? They're probably going to turn to more drugs or more painkillers. You know what I mean? So this guy, Lewis Hubble, worked there for 35 years, lost his sister to a drug overdose and seen people fired for drug use. And he was ready to jump up and cheer when they told him about it. So an addiction specialist says this won't help people whose lives have already been totally destroyed by drugs, but it could prevent casual users from getting to that point in the first place. Which, I get that. That's really awesome. So this guy, okay, John Stroop. Raise your drink. Whatever you're drinking, we're toasting you, John Stroop. Here's to you for not only addressing a problem, but for being a better person. Not turning a blind eye and saying, you know what? You take care of your problem. I got a business to run. You're creating a culture of support for your employees and the community. So I really think that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, here's another one. We're going to go to the next story real quick. Yeah, Eclipse, I hope you find a teammate, buddy. So, police in Texas got a call about an aggressive dog on the loose. It was a pit bull. I have a huge problem with this right here. Here's why. Did you know that there are programs out there for people, like there are groups of people that will adopt pit bulls just to get them killed? Like if you see an ad for looking for good home and it's pit bull pups, there are people in this world, and there's a lot of them, apparently, that will take that dog, pay the money, and then have the dog put down. Just because it's a pit bull. Regardless of age, history, whatever. The Texas Police Department sent an officer on a vicious dog call. They didn't expect him to return with a bunch of friendly photos. So they got a report on Sunday about a scary dog on the loose. When he went to check it out, he found a pit bull on a resident's porch. So, of course, he was wary about getting out of the car. But why, Milky? Because some people think the pit bulls aren't... let me just... pit bull murder, I think. You just see. Nope. I saw a huge Facebook rant about it. There's a group on Facebook dedicated to it. Let me see if I can. It was posted on Reddit or Failblog or something. Let's just see. Adopts pit bulls put down. Now I can't find the group. I gotta find. I'll have to find it on Failblog because that's where I saw it. Is people going nuts about how could these people be bragging about it? But I saw like multiple posts of people doing it, and it was part of a Facebook group. I gotta find it now. I can't find them now. No, maybe they got shut down. I don't know. It was legitimately a Facebook page about putting down pit bulls and people bragging about it. They might have been shut down after it went viral. I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't see it under the, or anything about pit bull haters. So anyways, so this cop, this police officer, Officer Travis Frost, he went there, left the door of his police car open in case he needed to get back in, walked up to the porch. And apparently that dog named Gold was picked up this morning by his owner at the animal center. Discovered he had an implanted chip. The owner's contact information hadn't been updated. Yeah. Apparently this cop came up and said, well, the dog was so darn friendly. As soon as he whistled, the dog came over with his tail wagging, jumped into the police car. Animal control was alerted, but before they arrived, they just hung out like old friends and took some photos. Look at that. That's a good-looking puppy. Oh, man. And it's true. Pit bulls are often stereotyped as vicious. They're banned in the UK, and hundreds of cities and counties in the US have similar restrictions. I think my town, you can't have a pit bull. Oh, man. This guy, was he the police chief? Police spokesman Sean Vaughn said the only time he was bitten on the job was by a Chihuahua. I own 2 of those. I believe that. Dog was reunited with his owner. Now, this is an uplifting story for 2 reasons. One, in the news, we usually hear about cops shooting people or hear how cops mess up. And I know it's a hot topic. I don't know a nice way to say it, so I'm just going to say it. If the wrong person had been sent to this home, this family would not have got their dog back. If the wrong officer had been sent there, there's a chance. For a couple of reasons. I mean, officers are being targeted right now a lot by people with guns. But if the officer had been, I want to say brainwashed, that pit bulls are a bad breed, or had a bad experience with pit bulls and automatically assumed all of them are bad, then that dog might not have made it. This guy had the presence of mind to whistle at the dog instead of just saying, get down, and start yelling at him, being aggressive. I love it for the second reason, because this goes to show you that you cannot judge a dog by its breed. I grew up with a Rottweiler. Rottweilers are supposedly very aggressive. Now, my father had been bit by a Rottweiler once. Dog was sleeping. My father was sleeping. Dog had a bad dream and snipped at my dad. And the dog felt horrible about it. He didn't bite him out of aggression. Dog was having a bad... You ever seen a dog have a bad dream? You ever seen it? I want to pull up a clip of that. See if we can find one. Watch his dog having a nightmare. Dog was having a nightmare. So anyways, my dad got bit by our Rottweiler once. That doesn't mean he's a bad breed. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We got one more story to go through, but Officer Travis Frost from Texas, in Texarkana, I'm going to drink to you because you legitimately are a hero. And why the hell would that person report an aggressive dog if it was just trying to be friendly? All right, I started reading this and this is easily my favorite story of the day. Then we're going to end the stream and we'll get back to do some video games tonight. I really want to make this a regular thing to focus on the positivity we have that's out there in the world. This is in Birmingham, Alabama. Austin, I hope I pronounce it right, Perrine. This kid wears a superhero cape. He's 4. He's 4 years old. Remember that. There's this red cape. He goes out to a shelter in Birmingham, Alabama, and he gets all these high fives and pats on the shoulder. He goes up and hands out sandwiches, drops off meals, and the kid calls it giving food and smiles. And a homeless guy, this is what a quote when they were covering the story, a guy said, "It's because of you I want to be a better person. Showing love everywhere you go," right? "I am," said Austin. And he's got the phrase "show love" across his chest. You guys see that? Thanks, Milky. I like it too. He likes being called a superhero. He's his own entity. President Austin. He doesn't like being called Superman. Show love means you care about someone no matter what they look like. Show love is a superhero motto. That's really fun. He's a compassionate kid, just loves to see everybody happy. His older brother struggles with autism. He's always been a nurturer of his brother. He's kind of like a little dad to him. This kid started this in March of this year. Said, "You know what? I want to put a plan in action." He didn't understand what homeless meant. He was watching an animal show, and there was a mother panda that was leaving her cubs. He didn't understand what homeless meant. So he wished to show Austin the meaning of homelessness, took him to a city shelter, and the kid immediately said, "Can we feed them?" He didn't expect to feed homeless people that day, but when a 4-year-old asks you, what can you say? So they headed to a Burger King, picked up an order of chicken sandwiches. He agreed to use his allowance to buy food instead of a weekly toy. And they've been feeding the homeless ever since. That's awesome. Shelter serves about 5,000 men, women, and children a year. Most of them are food insecure. Rely heavily on the community. This kid right here. This goes to show you, man, we talk about these uplifting stories. You don't have to donate $10,000. You have to donate an entire community of hope for homeless people. Those things are great. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to pay for people to go through rehab. Look at the last two stories. What keeps them together? It's just dog call turned into friendship. Superhero cape. He feeds the city's hungry and homeless. Love, man. That's what makes these people heroes. Is because when they wake up in the morning, they put on their shoes, they put their underwear on, they wipe their butt crack after they poop. They go about the day, they go home, they go to bed, and they dream. Their life is driven by love. I think we could take, I know I could take a page out of it. God knows I mean, we all do it. We all get so caught up in what's bugging us that we don't always take a step back to recognize that we have the capacity for one of the greatest things in this world, love. And as part of this uplifting news series that I like to do, I think this is only like my 4th video of it. I wanted to make this a regular thing once a week. I really like showcasing, not the fact, I mean, these are great. J.J. Watt paying for the funerals of victims, definitely demonstrating that it's in the feet and the actions of the helpers. That's where you can find hope. This one wasn't originally uplifting, but good for that chicken. Donor giving $10,000. Scottish café building a homeless community. This guy putting people through drug rehab. All these stories are, in my opinion, except for the chicken one, which I think was just a misclick on my part, uplifting. And what makes them great is they were done out of love. These actions were done out of love. It doesn't matter what you're giving materialistically. It matters that you're giving love. This 4-year-old kid and his dad, they get it. I wish I got it a lot more often. And maybe it's an opportunity for us to do something better. So our last person we're going to toast, raise your glass, whatever you're drinking. Austin Perrine, I hope I pronounced your name right. TJ Perrine, the father. Both of you guys are living a way that I hope a lot more people do, including myself. Here's to our heroes of the day, guys. Spread love. Okay. Well, that's it for Raise Your Glasses today. If you guys find some more, let me get you an invite here. If you guys find some more uplifting stories where positive actions are driven by love, post it in the Discord. I'll take a look at it, and I would be happy to include it in future segments. Otherwise, I browse the subreddit Uplifting News a lot to look for stories, so check it out there. So take care of each other. Do something nice for a stranger tomorrow. Milky Ray, time to commit mass murder in video game time? Yeah. Yep. I like to do things based out of love, though. You guys take care. Do something nice for a stranger tomorrow. If you go to McDonald's and you pay for someone's meal behind you, or you tell someone that you know, hey, it looks like you're losing weight or looking good. Doesn't matter the size of it. Done with love, it can have a huge impact on more than one person. Take care. I'll see you guys here in about 10-15 minutes.